Initiating sound check. Preparing and initiating pan test. Pan test left. Pan test right. Left. Right. Pan test complete. Sound check now complete. All systems are ready.
I gotta close the window before I record because New York don't know how to be quiet.
What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. A lot is going on around the league, but first, a round of applause for your motherfucking selves. The Knicks are up, finally in position to legitimately compete for an NBA championship. But again, a lot is going on around the league. New CBA kicked in. Brunson giving the Knicks a competitive edge while walking into it. James Dolan out here making noise, not feeling the new TV deal, as he has every right to. But this could be the beginning of a domino effect that'll have him consider upping the Knicks into a new arena to keep a competitive edge when it comes to revenue, just like the Golden State Warriors. And last but not least, gotta take a look at one of the top dogs in the East and understanding who exactly are the Boston Celtics. Now, in this past season, despite the on-court success of Jalen Brunson, he still had his doubters throughout the media, and it has sparked an interesting debate about a player's on-court impact versus his branding. And this is a unique space that Jalen Brunson finds himself, as Damian Lillard was voted to be an all-star starter above him, even though Brunson finished with most of the votes from his peers as well as media members. But Damian Lillard finished with over 75,000 more fan votes than Brunson, despite being in a city with over 8 million people. The Knicks, with their previous superstars such as Carmelo Anthony, are no strangers to this debatable topic. But your favorite shot jacker Gilbert Arenas and his crew spoke about it, and I gotta say, Gil had a little bit of slip up, but it revealed a lot to what some of the sentiment is of who's been the most impactful Knick since Patrick Ewing. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
With the surge of Brunson and the New York Knicks, Brunson
Write the script,
is
Gil.
officially fourth in MVP vote.
We need to be
New
the
York
new, we
would
need to be
go
the
on.
new narrative writers.
New York would be fight, but that's what you need.
You gotta be fit.
You need, but I'm just saying, you need the market from New York to explode.
For sure.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he has probably been, and this is no offense to Melo, he has probably been.
Uh-oh, Gil. Gil about to slip up right here. Peep this. Gil about to slip up right here, boy.
Take it easy.
I know, I'm trying to, I
Tread
gotta
lightly.
choose my words
Take it
carefully.
easy, please. I'm
Lightly.
listening too. I'm like, take it easy.
He's been the most impactful since Patrick Ewing. We already know it. Just with 2 playoff appearances alone, he has been the most impactful Knick since Patrick Ewing. Go ahead, Gil. Tell the truth. Be like Will Smith in that movie. Tell the truth.
Take it back. You can take it back.
The most dominant guard.
Gil dodging that. Gil dodging that right there.
I like how you said that.
I slid out of there. I slid out of there. Hey, listen, I slid right out of there.
I like how you.
Gil's learning.
Gil, you a smart dude.
I slid right out of that one.
Gil right here don't want to offend Melo because his brand is pretty big. He's well respected by many of the NBA players. But there is no doubt that Jalen Brunson's on-court impact is crazy. He's got all the Knick players from the past coming out. These guys are coming together in ways we've never seen before, smiling and cheesing so hard. Especially John Starks, we've never seen him that lit. That's the type of on-court impact that Brunson is having, and the whole city is feeling it. The energy in some of those playoff games was insane. I'm surprised the ghost of Anthony Mason ain't make an appearance. But again, there's a conundrum between the on-court impact versus the branding of a particular NBA player. Carmelo Anthony in the tri-state area definitely has the branding, but the on-court impact did not really equate.
Look what
Most
happens when you
dominant guard.
sit and think.
I mean, shit.
Since Linsanity.
I mean,
Man, they dodged out of that fucking slip up by Gil so smooth. They bringing up Linsanity, most impactful player since Ewing. That should really be the discussion right now.
that
was only for 2 weeks.
Hey, but that was a very dominant
the league
2
ain't never,
weeks.
the league never seen nothing like that, by the way.
That shit was
No, that's true.
insane.
But for the most part, I mean, when you're talking about
And a part of that dominance is winning being attached to it. Winning. At the end of the day, the W in the column is what it's all about. Getting caught up in your stars scoring 70 points and celebrating in a loss, like how the Phoenix Suns did with Devin Booker, that shit is nasty in a way. There's really nothing to celebrate, but the league is about showcasing, but god damn. The Knicks audience has just been deprived for way too long. We just need success attached to it.
I don't know.
like not a superstar, because you know he's not Melo name.
Right.
Non-superstar, is this probably the best player in Knicks history that didn't have a superstar name?
I'm rolling with that. I can roll with that.
Superstar is a name.
Once again, Gil is separating the on-court impact versus the superstar name, which in reality are two different things, but sometimes the media has a lot to do with it, as the entertainment aspect of the NBA is really what's driving the marketing around it. ESPN and other national media outlets tend to get kind of involved in the TMZ aspect of the game in order to promote it. And that's where we see the separation versus the on-court impact. Brunson, in a way, this season has fell victim to it. This is where we see the brain fart with the media. Every time his name gets brought up, they don't know how to even speak about it. They're way too attached to the branding side of things. But the longer he performs well, it makes them look stupid in front of their audience of why this guy that they never seem to talk about keeps winning and dropping all these points. And that lack of promotion stems from a lot of the resentment the media members have for James Dolan. That's just an ongoing war that seems to never end.
Where is the Knicks?
But I'm saying after, if they can make a run,
Where's the Rappaports and where's those Knick guys that
they're at the
Spike
game?
Lee.
where's the narrative? Where's the New York narrative that really just
Yeah, you're right. 'Cause
It is formulating.
like when Sin Lanity, when
Sin Lanity.
Lynn, when he
Sin
was
Lanity.
balling, I mean the city was on fire.
It was on fire.
And right now I'm pretty sure the city's on fire, but we can't see it.
We can't see it because the local media, especially the Daily News, they're used to covering the Knicks from a toxic standpoint. They sort of troll the fan base. And the leading topic that seems to get the algorithms going is Julius Randle's name. Once you put that in there, god damn. It's like adding gasoline to the fire. But when the team is experiencing success, it's funny how it's crickets. The only thing they seem to latch on to is releasing articles saying players don't want to play for Tom Thibodeau. They voted him the least favorable coach. When it comes to the media, my fellow Knicks fans, their ass is only out there to troll you.
It's a tiny fire.
Right? There's a little
little
campfire right now.
And it's
Nah, this is when New York's supposed to throw New York in everybody's face.
It is.
Y'all have the player, y'all have the team to do it. This is when New York stands up. If y'all understand,
New York is huge.
Okay, like what I'm saying is this: Los Angeles, the three biggest markets, right? New York, Los Angeles, Boston,
Yep. And Chicago.
and Chicago. That's fourth,
Yeah.
right? Lakers is in what seed?
Bottom
Currently the
feeder.
ninth.
And they-
Bottom feeding team.
they
Not
keep-
bottom
We
feeder.
gonna talk
We
about
hear
them
about them
5 times a week, and we only do a show 4 times a week.
Not bottom
Right.
feeder.
And it's funny, when it comes to the Lakers, the Knicks have finished the last 3 seasons with a better record than them, including that 2021 season when Randle had that thumbs down. That was a horrible year, but yet the Knicks still finished with a better record.
Well, now think about it. We gonna talk about the Lakers.
More
That's
than
just everybody. All sports is gonna talk about the Lakers.
What's the important team to talk
Right.
about?
So where is the New York media where it used to be, where they push their Knicks? Boston, y'all, they finally have the team to just flood the market, and we don't.
Unfortunately, in the past few decades, because of the lack of success, it seems like the local New York media has grown accustomed covering the team like a troll job. And so much time has just really passed. They've gotten too comfortable with it. So the pivot to covering them as a stable franchise that has success, they're really struggling with that.
Because they used to be talking about the Knicks all the time.
Knicks all the
even
time.
when they weren't good. They were always front and center.
Front and center. New York, boom, in your face.
Now you have
know what I mean?
Even on Sports Center. Yep.
Air Force Ones would have been selling out, getting ready for the summer.
Yep.
Now you have members of New York media who don't even know some of the players on the team.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's facts. They don't even.
No,
That's unfortunate.
That is 100% facts. And it's not just the Knicks. You can see it the way the NBA Finals this year was covered. They spent way too much time talking about the Lakers' head coaching job for a team next season that will just be a playing team if they're lucky.
Fire standing up.
Now
Pull us, Jalen. Pull us
he
up.
definitely stamped second team All NBA.
Yeah, you can give it to him.
Go ahead, book.
And what's so funny is, and if somebody put him in first team, nobody will. I wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, yeah. You ain't really gonna
Depends
have no.
on who. It depends on who's not.
I'm about to say,
His team, right? He has one of those things too. His team ain't that good. The number 1 or 2 options gone, and he's been carrying them. Right? It's one of those guys that.
It's a compelling argument. Julius Randle, obviously with the shoulder now, gonna be out for the season.
he be cooking cats too. They be trying to double team him. He be
he's that dude that you don't want to play, especially in the playoffs. Like you I don't want to play this dude. God damn.
So
he's the guy who plays for his daddy.
Yeah, he gonna get all the shots.
You get all the shots. Like he's that type in high school. Like
he do play for his daddy.
Yeah, I know he do play for. That's what I'm saying. He's like the dude that played for his daddy. He be like,
So
damn.
talk earlier in the season about teams not being able to win playing through a small guard like Brunson, but should he be the poster boy for showing that you can play through small guards in this league now?
Nah, teams say they can't win a championship.
Can't win championship.
Yeah.
That narrative ain't changed. If your best player is your smallest player over the history of the game has never been, Isaiah is the only person that ever happened like that.
Now that has been true in the previous eras, but right now the NBA has definitely gone through a shift, even from the Stephen Curry three-point era in the mid-2010s. The international talent pool that the NBA has been helping financially to develop all around the world, a plan that really started with Commissioner David Stern, it's coming into fruition right now, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor actually pan out, and it's changing the dynamics of how championship teams look. As we see, the Boston Celtics had 4 guys who could possibly have finished and won the finals MVP. So there are a number of teams in the league that are built like that. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and going down the line to other teams, we're seeing late first-round picks like Tyrese Maxey become perennial all-stars. That's how much talent is coming into the league. Jalen Brunson's story to stardom is not going to be the only one. So the makeup of these teams have a lot higher talent going down their bench than in previous eras. Long gone are the days of just having guys that are enforcers. In today's NBA, they'll get phased out real quick.
And Steph. And Steph ain't that little. Steph 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, no, I get it.
How tall is Jalen Brunson? 6.
Like 5'11".
5'11".
6 feet.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
That's why I said Steph looks little because he's skinny.
Right.
And he's skinny.
But overall, very interesting discussion on who's been the most impactful Knicks since Patrick Ewing. Brunson, in his first 2 seasons in New York, there's a lot of winning attached to his name. And it's been consistent and on a level that New York hasn't seen in a while. And we're still very early into it. With that slip up Gilbert just had right there, boy. He's expressing a sentiment we all feel, but some of us is not going to like to admit. So James Dolan and Madison Square Garden are at a very unique position as the NBA begins to transition into streaming. And I believe this will eventually lead to them considering moving the team out of Madison Square Garden into a different arena. But we're going to break this down layer by layer. As the NBA transitioning into streaming has stripped away James Dolan one of the advantages that he had over all the NBA franchises, which is his local TV deal. The Knicks, unlike the rest of the league, don't have to worry about the local TV market kind of falling out, with Bally Sports filing for bankruptcy. Teams like the Phoenix Suns were on television for free last season. All you needed is an antenna if you lived anywhere in Arizona. The Houston Rockets had to scramble and create a new app in collaboration with the baseball team just to get their games to their fans. The Dallas Mavericks and 15 other NBA teams had to scramble in the same manner. But the Knicks having MSG Network has always given them an advantage of not only being more lucrative than other teams, but also giving them a control over their business that other teams didn't have, including the large market teams like the Lakers and even the Golden State Warriors. And speaking of the Warriors, this is where they come into play here. That new Chase Center that they got, that is a money-making machine and has awakened a lot of NBA owners' eyes to the amount of money that they can make, not necessarily just in the arena, but creating an atmosphere around it, infusing it with tech and leisure. And this has catapulted the Warriors into a new stratosphere as far as making revenue. It was reported that they made over $300 to $400 million more than the Lakers and Knicks. But when you look underneath the surface, they got to get their costs down, because factoring that in, they didn't really make that much more than the Knicks. But that's something that's eye-opening to a lot of NBA owners. When you look into the Warriors ecosystem of having a stadium that's over 4 city blocks, they diversify their revenue by having an AI museum, multiple high-end restaurants, a steakhouse, a 74-foot screen outside the stadium that fans can watch the game. They have their own ticket exchange just for suites. And everything in and around the arena evolves around tech. So fans can more efficiently get food, get back to their seats, perhaps order and spend more money without waiting in long lines. And even in situations where the games are not being played in the arena, they have options like a farmer's market where they can not only make money off of vendors, but those same vendors will attract customers not necessarily attracted to the Warriors, thus giving that full block ecosystem that they have more visibility in the city. So you see how the Warriors started jumping up as being one of the highest evaluated teams in American sports. A lot of other NBA owners in recent years have inquired about new arenas. The 76ers even considered moving into New Jersey, just right outside of Philadelphia, just to get a new space because they recognize this formula. Same thing for the Washington Wizards. They almost broke a contract that they had out there just to go to Virginia. So that Chase Center has given the Warriors a competitive edge, the same edge that MSG gave the Knicks over the rest of the league. If the Warriors out there in Golden State is making all that money, you can only imagine if the Knicks had their own ecosystem around MSG instead of having an arena built on top of an MTA property. And now with the NBA transitioning into streaming and sort of doing a similar deal like the NFL has, where most of the games pretty much are going to be nationalized, you see where James Dolan is giving up a control of his business that he's had a competitive edge over for years. And ratings are down all across the board. It was reported that MSG stock was down 5% in the beginning of the year, but that does not matter because in the age of streaming, as long as you can garner an audience, it is very valuable. So James Dolan has a valid argument for bitching and complaining that the new TV deal is screwing him over. He's 100% right on that. But ESPN president John Skipper and former Marlins president David Samsung, as well as Pablo Torre, gave great insight to some of the inner nuances when it comes to James Dolan and the NBA's new TV deal. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
We had a funny way of describing George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner would go to owners' meetings, and he would vote against anything Bud Selig put to a vote, no matter what it was. Today is Tuesday. 29-1 was always the vote. Bud would get so angry that eventually the Yankees and George agreed not to go to any owners' meetings, which was a big step. Then the Yankees agreed to abstain. So then the votes would just be 29-0. And people would say, with the Yankees abstaining. Jim Dolan has become that. The owner of the Knicks was unhappy with the TV deal that Adam Silver negotiated because he's unhappy with Adam Silver as a commissioner. So therefore, he would vote no on Tuesday following Monday. And in fact, he did vote no on this TV deal. And the impact of his no vote, so we're clear, is zero. Literally, it has no impact on the operation of the league. Jim Dolan can write letters to anyone he wants, which he did. It has zero impact. He has no leverage whatsoever. He's trying to get a block to be with him, saying, we're too many national games. We're losing our RSNs.
The problem James Dolan's going to have is that everyone else, they don't have his RSN business. They don't have an MSG network. They have a local deal with Fox Sports. Yo, James Dolan is by himself on this one. He does not have a coalition of owners that's going to side with him with that. Most of them is losing out on the business. And just going into streaming is going to be very interesting to see because MSG would have more exclusive games when the Knicks are a losing team. But when they are a more successful team, best believe NBC, Peacock, Amazon, all these other streaming companies are going to want Knicks games on their platforms. So going forward in this 11-year deal, as the Knicks are on the trajectory right now of being a good team, that's going to really equate to MSG having less exclusive games on their own platform. They're going to lose it to streaming. But if they suck, more games exclusively for MSG networks. Funny how that plays out.
MSG Network's worth much less. Come with me, 29-1.
Well, he's the only one who has an asset like MSG, and it is a great asset. His incentives are to continue to protect MSG, which because of Yankee games and Knicks games and Ranger games is worth more, I think, right now than any other standalone RSN. You think that's right, David?
So the Yankees are on Yes. So there is an argument that Yes and Nesson and MSG are generally looked at the Mount Rushmore -1 of networks, and they're local regionally owned sports networks owned by teams, but they're all in the crapper. Is the truth.
And again, Jim Dolan's family has been in the cable business for many, many years.
And they sold out of that real quick. Yo, James Dolan family ahead of their time, boy. That is a dying business outside of internet.
He's trying to protect that asset. I'm sure he knows that he's not going to win the vote. He still has the right to register that he thinks his business would be better off with a different kind of deal with more local games. He is an anomaly. Nobody else's local games, though I think the Lakers get paid some tremendous amount of money for their local games. He wants to take the...
But it's still nowhere near MSG. The Lakers have no idea what revenue they're making from Time Warner. All they know is that they just get a check from them, but James Dolan sees the amount of revenue being made first. Then he hands out the necessary checks. That's the main difference. And this level of power is one of the reasons why the national media overall has issues with Dolan. He controls his whole ecosystem. So if he does not agree, your media credentials around his team could be revoked. And he has the infrastructure in place to put out his own segments and interviews. This level of control has created a lot of envy among many publications, especially in New York City, aka Daily News.
Advantages of being in New York City.
I totally understand what Jim Dolan was trying to do, and I don't blame him for attempting that. I never blamed the Yankees for being the Yankees. They're in New York. But the big difference that's going on now with team ownership is the entry prices have gone up so much. When you've got old-time owners arguing, George Steinbrenner in 1973, what was the number he paid for the Yankees? Let's say $7 million. Some out 70, some price that's crazy.
It was 17 or
17.
Something.
It was there was a
He
7
bought
in
it
there
from
somewhere.
CBS.
Indeed. And this is back now 50 years ago.
10.3.
Amazing.
Take the under on these estimates.
So think about it as opposed to Josh Harris, who goes to an owners meeting and sits there amongst people, Jerry Jones included, for what he paid for the Cowboys. He's sitting in a meeting saying, I just paid $6.5 billion. That's my basis. Jerry Jones' basis, when he bought, what did he pay? $370? Again, I don't know why that number's in my head, but that could have been what Dan Snyder paid.
$140 million in 1989.
They're in the same meeting. Rob Manfred had a quote this week that I think summed it up exactly perfectly when he was talking about networks and RSNs. Rob Manfred said it was a much better business when people were paying for things they didn't want. He actually said that.
Well, it may be a slightly ineloquent way to put it, but what he meant was if you just let us put it all in one bundle and charge you $120 right now, you'd be very happy. And that's not an untrue statement.
And the backbone of MSG Networks has been that very same business model. And so far, just looking at the MSG app, the Knicks charging, I believe it's $300 a year for their package. But yet League Pass is a lot cheaper than that. And you get all the games. And the Knicks have a second option where you could buy every single game for $10. There's a change in the consumer behavior in that transition that Dolan's trying to make from the bundling into streaming or direct to consumer. And the price points don't really match up. That's no shade to the MSG app. It's just the marketplace has better options, especially factoring that Amazon is included in this new TV deal. So down the line, whether Adam Silver takes away Dolan's leverage of having MSG or not, he's going to get hit over the head at some point, either by the consumer or the league themselves trying to force him to adjust his business model.
Jim Dolan said, quote, "The NBA has made the move to an NFL model, de-emphasizing and depowering the local market. This feels like a thing the NBA should want, but obviously Jim Dolan doesn't feel that way."
It's really, they're trying to socialize, which the leagues are doing. You saw Don Garber do it with the package at MLS. NFL does it with all of their games. It's split evenly 32 ways. And what Adam Silver's trying to do, MLB's trying to do it, but they can't figure it out with all the teams right now, with the big market teams being in the way. And the Knicks are what I would consider a big market team in the NBA. And he's unhappy with anything that takes away his ability to maximize his profit.
I have a consistent point of view that the NBA will be advantaged by being the second league to go totally national and forget regional games. That doesn't mean that, and by the way, it will create more value. I have no doubt that it'll create more value over time.
It definitely will. And it's a model that's pretty much forced on the whole league, especially with Bally Sports filing for bankruptcy. The local RSN model for the NBA, it doesn't work. And the network carriers are not just going to offer a big bag for no reason. They're going to compare it to the actual ratings that's been happening. And in that case, the NBA is not going to have that much leverage. So in the process of that, the owners are going to outvote James Dolan when it comes to remaining in that infrastructure. And Dolan's going to have to pivot. Major pivot. He's going to have to find another advantage. And this is why I was saying earlier, the advantage might have to be him going and following the Warriors blueprint with that new arena. You can't really build an ecosystem around MSG on top of that MTA subway. So a major pivot is awaiting James Dolan, as the NBA entering streaming is going to definitely take away one of his key advantages.
The question is 1/30th of whatever Adam grows the league to because he does this. Jim may see some of his local revenue that if he'd put on top of the 1/30th he was getting before, he would have had more. A lot of clubs would have had less. And did you call it a socialist? I didn't know if you were socializing or you were socialisming.
Yeah, I was actually, in this case, you can use both.
Oh, okay.
Because I think what Dolan wants to protect against in his mind is having anyone benefit from that which he has achieved.
As he should. Protecting his advantage is part of business. But on the flip side of the coin, Major League Baseball has taken the opposite direction of the NBA, allowing the teams to have full control of their local RSN business. And the fact that teams like the Dodgers and Yankees have an exclusive deal is tying Major League Baseball up from just doing one national deal that benefit all the teams, because they are included in that RSN business failure, because most of that league is going through the same things the NBA teams are going through. So now right here, we'll get a prime example if the NBA continues to stick to the model that James Dolan wants. As Evan Drellick of The Athletic perfectly explains, MLB's conundrum with allowing major market teams like the Dodgers and Yankees to have exclusive deals, leaving the rest of the MLB teams scrambling, as carriers like Diamond Sports no longer want to carry their games. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Well, the RSN landscape is collapsing and crumbling and falling apart. I mean, even if you just take baseball, Diamond dropped 2 teams, Arizona and San Diego, and they renegotiated 3 other teams. Cleveland, Texas, and Minnesota, their deal expired, but they re-upped on a 1-year deal. So that's basically a renegotiation. There are still 9 other teams that they haven't touched, right? So the majority of baseball teams that Diamond was working with, basically the perception you can walk away with is, well, those deals are working fine, and the reality is there isn't money established, consistent money coming in through streaming options yet, really, for anybody. I mean, Peacock losing more than $2 billion in 2023, so it's not going to disappear, at least not overnight. I think what you've heard people in baseball, Commissioner Rob Manfred, talk about, and I hear some media consultants talking about, is this kind of modified world where the exclusivity gets lessened. So, you could broadcast the games simultaneously. Maybe you can stream them, and the rights fees get lessened. But the RSN team relationship still exists, and in baseball, it's going to become very important. It was important years ago for these exclusivity arrangements to be loosened, and they haven't been. And it means that, if you're in a Comcast territory, you want to watch the Twins, and you're a Comcast subscriber, well, you're not in a great spot here if you subscribe to Comcast, because there isn't this alternative streaming option that you can just sign up for, available separately. So I think it's less doomsday and more an altered world. MLB would like to have a national in-market streaming package, MLB.TV, which has existed for years and is, in my opinion, a great product. You could just, it works pretty darn well, and you can watch any out-of-market game. Wouldn't it be nice for fans and customers and anybody who just wants to watch a game to have that as an option for in-market? So if I'm in New York, where I am, I want to watch the Mets or the Yankees, I can't do that through MLB TV, and this has been a long-running complaint that people have, and this has to do with the exclusivity deals that the RSNs make with the teams.
Just like James Dolan with MSG. But now with streaming, with that exclusive package is going away. But MLB just having so much inventory, all those games, I believe they have 168 games. That's going to be one hell of a task to take that away from the Yankees and the Dodgers, especially when streaming is not even proven to be profitable yet.
So what I was talking about before, where you get to this world where things get loosened, wouldn't it be great if both could exist? The RSN gets to broadcast the games, pays the team maybe less money than they do now, and also you could sign up through this package and get the games in the same way. I think that's the world that baseball would want the most, because that gives you still some set income, which, if baseball were only selling a national streaming package, it's a lot less predictable. People can walk away whenever, and sure, people can stop subscribing to cable, but once you get the box, typically you keep the box. We see cord cutters, but I think there's less variability of people going in and out of subscriptions when it comes to cable. So they want to be paid. I think that's overlooked here. It's like, yeah, do they want to have a national streaming package? Sure. If that means making a lot less money than they do now, they probably don't want it. But that's a little bit, cutting off your nose to spite your face, because they do need to broaden their reach. They do need to make it easier for people to access these games.
And that's the sacrifice Adam Silver is willing to make in order to have these games more nationally televised. It's crazy how Dolan's competitive edge over the whole league actually has come back to bite him, because him being on top of the mountain by himself, he has no allies. Oh, this is crazy how this played out. But once again, this may be the beginning domino effect of the Knicks making a move out of MSG. The money flowing out of that Warriors Chase Center is, man, whew, it got these owners scrambling to get new arenas.
Now they're according to my colleague Andrew Marchand, nearing a deal with Roku. I mean, how many different places are you going to be able to watch a baseball game? It's a little dizzying, and I think you lose people in a crowded landscape like that. These teams control their individual rights. The Yankees have their own deal with Amazon, but this national package that MLB was talking about, this in-market national package that the league that Manfred said he wanted to launch for 2025, was targeted to be about half the teams in the league, which you can argue is not enough to sell anyway. And some people do argue that. And So it's not even if what you're saying is right and makes sense, and yeah, have Amazon do it. Well, which teams do you have who are participating? And that's dependent in part on what deals are already in place. And again, this is why if Diamond emerges from bankruptcy, the deals that the Diamond teams have, they're still in place, right? If Diamond disappeared, there would be basically 12 teams that would have their rights back. You combine those with the handful of teams that MLB right now is producing and the teams have control of their rights over. Okay, now you got half the league, but you don't have it otherwise. And so there is this end game question. I don't even want to call it an end game, but at some point, if you're going to go to streaming, you've got to stop handing over exclusivity to the RSNs. And when the Twins deal got done with Diamond for this year, 1-year deal, same with the Rangers, same with the Guardians, there was exclusivity again. Diamond wanted that, and the teams via MLB granted that.
The NBA had a very similar conundrum. The only reason they got out of it is because in the bankruptcy that Diamond had filed, they renegotiated a deal where they gained all those teams' rights within a year. So within that same year, that's when they were eligible to negotiate with Amazon and NBC and Peacock. So the NBA had things fall in their lap so it could be set up that way. It's going to take major monumental shifts for MLB to have that same setup. In a way, it's unfortunate for James Dolan. All this came back to bite him in the ass. It's crazy how all these things tie in together. Keep in mind, right now we're seeing MLB teams and NBA teams collaborate together just to come up with an app or just a way of getting the games onto their customers. From the Padres to the Utah Jazz to the Houston Astros, Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, the Phoenix Suns, the Arizona Diamondbacks, all these teams locally are collaborating on apps just to get the games out to their fans, as well as making the games accessible with just a TV antenna. The sports RSN business is definitely in the Wild West right now.
At some point, you got to stop doing that if you want to increase your reach, even if it means taking a little bit less money from Diamond. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. This is a classic big market, small market baseball division where, if you want to create an all 30 team package, okay, the Yankees sit there and say, my rights are X times more valuable than the Marlins. Are you paying me X times more to participate in your package? And, the teams control their local rights. That's just the way baseball has always operated. So, and this is a years long process that's going to unfold. You need current deals to expire, and then you would have to have some alignment of teams and owners to say we do or don't want to pool together. I do come back to a reality of, wouldn't it be nice if I want to be able to watch the 2024 Major League Baseball season? Can I sign up for something that lets me do that? Right, there's a very basic thing here that kind of unfortunately, falls by the wayside because of this setup. And I got to tell you, it's one of I found all this stuff when I first started covering it, maybe a bit intimidating. It is actually among the most fascinating things that I've come across, and because it controls everything, right? The amount of money that comes from the RSNs or whoever is paying for your TV rights influences how much money the teams are going to spend, influences the rosters, it's influences labor deals. It really is kind of the thing from which everything else flows. And so it's not to get all kind of existential about it, but it is. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
That's why we see so many owners selling the teams, from Mark Cuban to Glenn Taylor, and now these Celtics are up for sale. The current landscape and the future one in streaming are both questionable, but the NBA entering into streaming, that's a whole different ecosystem. The way the audience engages, completely different. The ratings are going to be a lot less. And depending on the details of the deals, will they not only have a way of tracking the data, but also a third-party way of accessing the true metrics so they can use that to negotiate in the future. There's a lot of key aspects to the sports business that these leagues are giving up by signing up for streaming. There's a lot of questions to be asked. Oh man, we'll see how this plays out. But you understand the pushback, and for James Dolan to look for new monetization strategies. The idea of a new arena doesn't seem that crazy. He's in the same conundrum as major soccer clubs from the other side of the world, like Chelsea, Manchester United. They play in old historical stadiums. But when you see how the ownership groups move, when they have those teams play a bunch of games in the US during their preseason, they'll tell you that the modernized American soccer stadiums, it allows them to monetize the audience in different kinds of ways that they can't in the legacy stadiums that they play in Europe. But the fan bases are so attached to those arenas. Like the one Manchester United plays in, I believe it's called Old Trafford. That fan base is attached to that arena, very similar to how us Knicks fans are attached to MSG. But we'll see. This is a very unique time and space, and James Dolan's going to have to give up a level of control of his business to embetter the NBA as a whole and access to the audience. But yet that access in streaming has yet to be proven profitable. Interesting times. So basketball savant LeBron James had did a sit down with JJ Redick. With them reflecting on this past season, they revealed some inner nuances that impact some of the top Knicks players. Now keep in mind, LeBron James is sort of an NBA prodigy. It's not just his height and his physical build, it's really the way he thinks the game. LeBron is the type to predict the outcome of the games based on how many number of possessions he has, his own personnel, and how many points he's down by. He can tell you how many mistakes are left. So he is a basketball wonder king, I would say, or a savant. And I gotta say, it's pretty rare to see all this bundled into one package. But right here, the self-proclaimed king speaks on a scenario that he faces with NBA defenses. And out of all the players in the league, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are on the very top of that list. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
All right, I'm going to go over these blitz numbers because we're talking about 2 on the ball, and this is interesting. So this year, top 5 players that have been blitzed and pick and roll. Luka by a lot, by far, almost 200 more blitzes.
Sure. That's to be expected. That's the pick and roll king. But pay attention right here.
And then everybody, the next 4 guys are bunched together. It's Brunson, Anthony Simons, Dame, and Book. Top 5 by ISO, Giannis, Kawhi, Julius Randle, Anthony Davis, and Banchero. Those are the top 5 by ISO guys. Yep.
Jalen Brunson making that list for pick and roll scenarios is not surprising. But Julius Randle and ISO, top 5 in players who get blitzed, the Randle haters got to explain that.
It's interesting. I looked up your blitz numbers in the tracking era, and you were first in ISO doubles in 13 and 14, second in 15, 16, and top 10 in 17, 18, and 19, 20. You've never actually been in the top 20 in blitzes against pick and rolls. Why do you think that is?
Because I make all the right reads.
I think it's that simple. You're right.
That simple. Teams know they can't blitz me to pick and roll.
But what's interesting about Luka, I think, he's one of a handful of guys in this era that can make any pass against a double team.
Any.
James is one of them.
Yep.
You are for sure. Luka's one of them.
Yep.
So why are you blitzing him?
I don't understand it. Especially with the shooting they surround him with too. It doesn't make sense.
Like I get the Brunson thing has been since Randle's out.
Yeah.
The uptick in blitz has gone way up, right?
They don't have that.
I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that.
I get that as well. You know, you have to. He's a one-head monster right now with the Knicks, and they blitzing him and making other guys beat him. I saw Golden State do it a lot last night as well before our game.
And that goes to show you how Brunson has improved on his pull-up game, especially going from year 1 to year 2 on the Knicks. That's part of the headache teams face when going up against him. I mean, you got to double team him, but he still gets through it. That game 6 from the 2023 playoffs against the Miami Heat, you could look back at that game and see that it was Brunson's warning shot to the league, that he's on his way. But fuck it. Let's take a look at some of the scenarios LeBron was making reference to in real time.
Right about now, we're going to start to change the pace and change the style.
So starting off with Brunson, without Randle, the Knicks have found clever ways to kind of get through this. Here's a double screen right here. Josh Hart is going to screen Chet. And in that slight hesitation right here, Brunson is going to burst. And he's able to finish these. And as LeBron stated earlier, it's all about the decision making coming off the pick. As right here, we're going to see Bobby P. He's going to hedge. The defender's trying to get over the screen. So Brunson's going to thread the needle as Hartenstein rolls. This is good chemistry. Hartenstein is able to finish these. And when dealing with the blitz coming off these screens, that decision making doesn't necessarily start with Brunson all the time. As Josh Hart right here, he felt his defender trying to hedge this screen. So he slips out early. And again, LeBron mentioning his decision making coming off these blitzes is the reason why he no longer gets double teamed. As you're going to see right here off the dribble handoff screen, you're going to see Brunson's decision making. He stays patient. Josh Hart is kind of open right now, but he stays patient with it. Kind of waits it out. And now he threads the needle to Hartenstein. And again, LeBron mentioning his decision making coming off these picks, whether it be a dribble handoff or a regular pick and roll, is the reason why teams are starting to back off of him, because it's just so sharp that they've adjusted. And that's the reason why he doesn't make top 10 or even top 5 from year to year since the mid 2010s. And what really helps with that is having a person who knows how to operate in the short roll position, Hartenstein. The Knicks next season may have to figure out something for his replacement. Now, as we see here, Jericho Sims is in the short roll position. So Brunson's going to react a lot different knowing that he's not as skilled as Hartenstein. So he rejects the screen right here. And now he goes in to take a much more difficult shot. So right here, you see another prime example. You got Bojan operating out of the short roll. But this is what LeBron was talking about. The decisions you make coming off this pick. You see this blitz right here. But Brunson, he's going to take a more difficult shot. But again, this is what LeBron was talking about when saying Brunson was just being a pest with the pick and roll, even through the blitz. As you see right here, he's going to create space for himself by going left and keeping Maxey on his hip. So he is able to be creative on his own and still generate shots, even though he missed that right there. Brunson has real high IQ. He knows Oubre is going to get back because you have a three-point shooter right here in Bojan. And with him being on the more empty side, he knows he's going to have to get back. And now he's just going to attack him one-on-one, no Embiid down low. So he's going to take his chances. But he's been knocking down shots like these, even though this is a tough shot. That's what LeBron had meant when he said Brunson just still operating the way he does with no Randle. He's just been a beast. Now, speaking of Julius Randle, it's his decision making on plays like this. He's going to attack this empty side right here. But how does he react to the blitz? Does he react fast enough? Look at White. He's creeping up in there. So he reacts a little too late on this blitz right here. During the Knicks' 15-game winning streak last year, Randle has shown in isolation that he can make great decisions. And going into next season, he's going to have even more room for improvement while having a off-ball cutter like Mikal Bridges. And he's also a three-point threat. So that's going to improve Julius's odds of making better decisions, leaving it for other teams to actually force another decision, not necessarily showing him a double team as much as he used to. He should be steadily going down that list. That's what LeBron was making reference to. So for Brunson, him being a top 5 player off a pick and roll that gets blitzed, it makes sense. Randle wasn't there and he didn't really have much shooters. But for Randle to be on that list, it goes to show teams are gambling on his decision making. As right here, he's reading on Zubac stunting in, and him just trying to read the defense right now, see what's going on. Paul George is going to strip him. So Randle right there in that exact scenario is going to have to show faster reads, faster decision making, make your move, or pass the ball. Sometimes that requires a lot of patience. As right here, he catches the ball, he has Highsmith on him. Brunson didn't even get to clear out yet. There's still 11 seconds left on the clock. Kyle Lowry's in his way. And he has Kevin Love. So he's not able to take advantage of having Highsmith on him. Here's another prime example. Randle dealing with Kyle Lowry, stunting in a little bit. You got Grimes about to be open as the cutter makes their run right here. But Randle kind of forces the ball in, doesn't wait to it play out. Here's another example. 2 men on the post. Good old Jimmy boy. You know he's going to be slick, but he eventually he's going to blitz because Randle kind of has his head down a little bit. Grimes is wide open. Jimmy kind of recognizes that, so now he fully blitz. And Randle takes a more difficult shot. Again, Julius Randle has shown flashes last year of just staying patient, just waiting till things play out. As right here, we're going to see Reggie Jackson. He kind of stunts in a little bit. But as soon as Brunson gets open, OG makes his run to the weak side. He kind of waits till things play out. And he has a one-on-one situation himself. Right here, staying patient, staying in control. Dante opens up. Splash. Now Randle right here, this is why his moves got to be much quicker. It's isolation right now, one-on-one. But watch quick. Very slick by Quickly right here. As soon as Randle's about to make his move, now Quickly blitzes. See the lane quickly closed. Let's look at that again. Randle take too long to make his move. He had a one-on-one situation on the empty side, and now because he took long, it's quickly gone like that. So right here against Brooklyn, this is a perfect reaction by Randle. Spots the double team right here, and let's see how he reacts. Great pass. Finds Grimes. Right here's another perfect example. I'm telling you, Randle in that month of January with that 15-game winning streak, he stays patient right here. He was in a different zone, and he finds OG open. Normally, Randle, being the bull that he is, he'll just fucking bulldoze everybody and get to the hoop, and it'll be an offensive foul. But this is the maturation right here. Once again, taking a look at that short stint with OG on the team, and before Randle had that shoulder injury, I'm telling you, he was in a different zone. He was more patient. He was letting the game come to him. Notice right here with RJ and Quickly, the double team is here, and he stays patient. Now, one thing I would like to add that correlates to this situation was the way Julius Randle reacted to these same type of blitzes coming off of isolation, but in the playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks, which even till this day, he still gets flack for. Now, keep in mind, this very Knicks team have Alfred Payton and Derrick Rose as their point guards. Mitchell Robinson was injured and out for this series, and some of the secondary scorers were guys like Alec Burks, Reggie Bullock, and RJ Barrett. So all these factors will affect the spacing. Not having Mitch will affect the gravitational pull around the restricted area, as the Knicks don't have an offensive threat, so Capella will have more freedom to blitz guys like Randle. And of course, not having any shooters could easily cause this defense to collapse. But again, Randle making the list in 2024 for being one of the most blitz players in isolation. So teams are forcing him to make decisions. They're gambling on that part. And this will be the same situation here with lesser talented players offensively on the floor. Once again, look at Capella. He forces Randle to put the ball down. Once again, there's no threat in the restricted area. There's no Mitch. And there's barely any outside shooters who've been consistent. And again, I'm saying all this because a lot of the hate that Julius Randle gets, especially when it comes to the playoffs, it comes with no context. People forget what was the Knicks' real roster lineup going into those playoffs. The shit was definitely bulimic when it comes to the offensive versatility compared to today. Now again, looking at Randle when dealing with the blitzes, he's on the empty side. Sheesh, they put 3 players on him. I'm not gonna lie, there's no excuse for a turnover, but again, who are the shooters on the other side? But the Hawks are very comfortable at sending multiple people at Randle. Again, looking at Randle's reaction. Off the blitz. Peep Alec Burks' man right here. He's not even gonna follow him to the other side of the court. He's just gonna blitz Randle. That forces Randle just to settle. Knicks once again get Randle on the empty side. Look at Capella, happy as could be. He's fucking practically skipping to the empty side. Randle has no attacking lane to get to the cup. So he just settles. Again, the Hawks clogging up his attacking lanes. Look at Capella. He has nowhere to go. And look at the shooters on the floor. You just got Bullock, really. RJ's three-point shot is really not there yet. And my God, you know situations are bad when you have Alfred Payton out there. Once again, the Randle Hawks series that people just hold over his head, we really forget that we had to have Alfred Payton on the floor. That's how you know shit is bad. Once again, Randle on the empty side. Capella creeping up. He's stunting. Man, fuck it. He's just going to fully blitz. Why not? Look at the three-point shooters available. D Rose is out there on his last leg. And Randle now is forced to the baseline with nowhere to go. Once again, Randle right on the empty side. He has all this space to attack. But look at Capella. Got to clog up his attacking lanes. Nowhere to go. Can't go in there. So Randle's going to settle. Now this one right here. Randle, once again, his attacking lane is clogged up. Capella at the time was kind of a shot blocker. Taj Gibson is not really a aerial threat. Randle leaving off his feet trying to make this pass. That's really going to fall on him, but he doesn't have much options. I'm not going to lie. You see, with the Hawks knowing that the Knicks don't have an aerial threat, it makes it easier for Capella to clog up Randle's attacking lane. See, there's no alley threat. If Mitch was there, this could have been an alley threat right here. But fast forward to the 2024 Knicks team. You can have McHale right here. You're going to have Brunson. You have much more options, and you have OG in the corner. So Randle's looks are going to be a lot different. And you really see the difference between that Kemba Walker season to when Brunson came. Randle had a much more efficient season. As right here, he has to settle. So right here, RJ Barrett is going to clear out the empty side for Randle to attack it. And you're going to see Capella and others continue to clog up Randle's ability to get to the cup. So he has nowhere to go. Once again, Taj, not really a threat. But Randle didn't have to lose his dribble right here. He could have maintained it and possibly make something happen. But this just makes Randle settle for a step back. So right here, we're really seeing Randle with decision making under poor spacing conditions. Just even RJ kind of in this flare screen right here. Herdia does not fully even commit on RJ. He kind of still is stunted in. Look at this spacing right here. Randle still has nowhere to go because no one's really a threat. Look at Herdia. He's still stunted in. RJ is wide open, but he doesn't really have to respect it. And Randle just settles for a tough shot. Again, looking at Randle's decision making with poor spacing, we see the closeout completely clogging up his attacking lane, and nobody's even recovering to the three-point shooters. So that slight hesitation, shot clock now winding down. Randle just settles for a tougher shot. Randle right here needing a bit more patience. Instead of taking that step forward, you know, Capella is going to be that threat to prevent him from getting to the rim. Should have took more of a step to the side to lead him on to get Taj more open, but he attacks him. But again, we've seen this type of growth from Randle in the 2024 kind of 15-game stretch that we had with OG when he first came to the team. That sort of let the game come to you flow. Randle was more patient. Everything was crisp, his passes, even his shot selections. Nothing was being forced. It just looked a lot smoother. The Knicks of the 90s are held to a high esteem because they reflected the grittiness of the city. During their time, they didn't have players that were necessarily glorified in the highlight reels or be on the quote-unquote red carpet. But the way they approached the game and played is admired by many. Some even subconsciously think of it as the best era of the Knicks, even though they won championships in the 70s. So there's very few teams in sports overall whose play styles reflect the city they reside in. I mean, just off the top, I can only think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe from way back in the day, Oakland Raiders. You got the 90s Knicks, the Showtime Lakers with the flashiness of LA. It's very rare in sports that this happens. But when it comes to the Knicks, it seems like it's happening all over again. With this current cast of players who have key notable guys who were pretty much almost written off. The Lakers letting Julius Randle walk for nothing, only in his 4th year in the league. Josh Hart for a time was bouncing from city to city, from New Orleans to Portland, until he found a home with the Knicks. And Jalen Brunson, him sitting on a team with Luka, not fully being secure about his NBA future, until a coach like Jason Kidd gave him a shot to prove his value. So the Knicks have a couple cast members with a chip on their shoulder, and a lot of that energy spills over onto the court. And when you got winning attached to it, you got a hell of a formula that's attracting many people to come out as former players show up to MSG in ways we've never seen before. So the energy is definitely being noticed, as this current Knicks team reflects a lot of the energies that came out of the Knicks team in the 90s. But just like that Knicks team from back then, there is a yearning to get to the next level up and compete for a championship year in, year out. They got the grit, the grind, the tenacity, the focus. But there's this one last thing that really sometimes gets overlooked when it comes to making that final step up, and it's sacrifice. It rarely gets talked about, but LeBron James never got a max contract until he returned to Cleveland. And even back then, he kept on taking a 1-year deal. So to level up and make sure that he has the proper pieces around him, he's always been flexible. And we've seen peers in his draft class not make that sacrifice and have to live with the outcomes. I don't want to say no names. But what Brunson did ushering the Knicks into this new NBA landscape with the CBA, the influx of talent coming in, the restrictions, depending on how deep a team is into the salary cap, on what trades that they could make or even players that they could pick up, is giving the Knicks plenty of flexibility, not only to re-sign players, but to make moves that even the Celtics going forward cannot make. Jalen Brunson had did a sit down where he reflected on this past season, what motivates him, and the overall focus it takes to bring the Knicks a championship. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
There's like a compilation of like videos of like when I did sign, and it was like a bunch of like, it was like on ESPN, it was like on Fox Sports or whatever, and just saying like how dumb or how bad it was for the Knicks or whatever, the grading process of it. Every time I see it, I just like kind of like, I don't watch it, but I skim over it, like, there it is again, like. But I didn't think of it at the time. Like when I saw it, I was like, all right, it's just another stepping stone where people don't believe in me, and I believe in myself. It kind of keeps me humble. Hey, these people don't think you're anything. Like, and I'm not trying to go out there and prove to the world like, yo, I belong here. I'm proving to myself like, hey, I worked this hard to be in this position. I have this opportunity. I need to take full advantage of it. So it's more telling myself that I belong here versus telling the world like, hey, like, see, like, watch me. I'm in this position because I earned it. Like, which is true, but I'm trying to prove it to myself first and foremost, because there's a lot of people who've, like you said, doubt me or like overlook me or whatever. But I try my best not to even think of them, because I have the person who's been with me every single day, like my dad, to push me the way he has. And I've had other coaches in the past push me, like Coach Wright, my high school coach, middle school coach, coaches in the league, like they've pushed me. And I've always had that mindset of, okay, like how can I get better? How can I just extract the message from what they're trying to say and put it into my game to make sure I'm the better player? There's always people going to say things about you that are positive or negative, but if you're not going to listen to the negative, you can't listen to the positive either. And so,
can you imagine the mindset he developed from his pops? Rick Brunson, I believe, signed 9 NBA contracts on different teams. So he was definitely a journeyman in the league, squeezing out every bit of juice of talent that he could to keep his spot.
True, I'm not locked in on a naysayer, but like you said, I see it.
Yeah.
You see all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, it's just another one, another thing that's happened to me. It'd be different if it really happened and someone said something. I'll be, oh, okay, this is gonna be in my head for a while. But it's happened throughout my entire career.
Yeah.
Like it's happened in high school. And that proved everyone wrong. It happened in college. It proved everyone wrong. It happened in the league, and it's still happening. It's gonna happen. It's just, it's just all about how you respond to it.
Yeah.
When we did the introduction with the Knicks, I kind of said something. Hey, like, everyone thinks I'm good, but there's always that. Hey, like there's something. It's like not like. It's not like a backhanded compliment, but it's like, yeah, he's got it, but he's not this or he's not that.
It always amazes me how when the Knicks first got Brunson, people were still obsessing over Donovan Mitchell, even though Brunson was cooking him in the playoffs before that offseason. Makes no sense to me. And Donovan Mitchell is one of those players where, with the early success in his rookie season against Russell Westbrook, which has been proven to be a player that cannot necessarily win in the play style that he has deep into the playoffs. So Donovan Mitchell for a while has been living off that series win from Westbrook, when in reality he's been knocked out quite a few times, I believe in the first round. And if you check out that series against the Jazz and Mavericks in Brunson's last few games playing for them, the first 2 games of that series, Brunson was cooking Mitchell, cooking him. But yet once again, after cooking him in those first 2 games and cooking him again the following season against the Cavs, people were still obsessing over getting Donovan Mitchell. So all that's part of the chip on the shoulder of Brunson. He's now set it up in a way, especially after this season, where it's pretty much undeniable.
Always been that way. And so, I mean, like it is what it is at this point. The narrative of a star, it's the look of a star. It's what brings the most tickets, how can you monetize someone or something.
But with no encore impact. No encore impact. There's been plenty of stars, especially with the way the NBA has tweaked the rules, bringing the 3-point line back, thus spreading the floor, allowing guys more freedom of movement. There's going to be plenty of stars who are on the highlight reels. But as far as encore impact when it comes to winning, unfortunately, there's a lot of them where that doesn't add up.
That's just how it's been. It's always been that way. And so, I mean, I'm not fighting it. It is what it is. I'm still going to try and do what I got to do, but it's how it's been. I believe that I can help a team win. Do I have to be the best player? No. If that's my role, I mean, of course I'm going to do it the best of my abilities. But I'm not dying to be the best player. I'm not dying for that recognition to be a person who needs all that attention for just himself.
And that's an adjustment the national NBA media is going to have to make. The talk around the 2024 NBA Finals about Tatum not scoring enough points or he's not the MVP, the type of team the Celtics were in those finals, there is no one star in the league that would have ended up beating them. They played with cohesion in the offensive as well as the defensive end, and they completely took away Luka and the Mavericks' identity as a 3-point shooting team. So going forward, it's not going to be uncommon, especially when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Knicks, the Celtics. It's not going to be uncommon for a team to have potentially 4 players who could win Finals MVP. That's how much influx of talent is coming into the league. And the media has not yet changed the conversation around it because they haven't evolved looking at the game past the typical star player from the 80s and 90s.
I'm a person who will gladly contribute to winning. I'm a person who will gladly put the team on my back if I have to. Like I don't need that title. I want the title champion. That's all that matters to me. And so whatever is being said about that, can he be the best player or not, or whatever. Can I help my team win? And I haven't done that yet, but I want to, and that's all I care about.
So there you have it. Just a quick bit on Brunson's mentality and his approach with the Knicks having an influx of guys who could possibly put up numbers from night to night. In NYC, sometimes the topic of discussion is, can Randle coexist with everyone on the team? And the thought of collaboration is not necessarily something that comes into mind. And Brunson right here letting us know through his actions, taking less money. He's also letting us know that winning is the most important factor. So we'll see. This puts much added pressure on the Knicks to make sure that Brunson has the necessary pieces around him going forward to utilize the cap space within that window. This definitely gives the Knicks a competitive edge over the Celtics, and to a degree, as seasons go along, the Philadelphia 76ers, as Podcast P took his full payment on his max deal. So we'll see how it plays out. And finally, Brunson admitted what led to our downfall in the playoffs last season. It wasn't no bullshit official calls or any injuries. It was the fact that we let the Pacers series continue too long. In game 3, we did not close it out. Too many fuck-ups. Had we executed, we would have been up 3-0.
The one thing that pops in my head is Andrew Nembhard hitting that 3 in game 3.
Yeah.
Props to him. Like, I'm not mad at him, but just damn. I actually played somewhat good defense right there. He makes the ball from 30 feet or 35 feet, whatever it is. And that's one thing that pops in my head. And obviously just like the Pacers in general, like the team you lose to is something you're going to think about. Like, like I'm Carlisle and all the coaches that were in Dallas, obviously respect them all. Ty, I respect. TJ, Neesmith, all those guys, you respect them all, but like you want to go out there and compete. Like you can't wait to lace them up again. Like that's all you're thinking about. It's like, hey, I want to get back to that point and just kind of redeem myself.
But it's things that led up to the Nembhard 3 is where we really messed it up. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just get to the footage.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out.
So once again, things came down to fourth quarter execution. As in the last 3 minutes, the Knicks were down by 1 with Deuce McBride getting an open look from 3 and just missed it. Then eventually the Knicks got the possession back with Josh Hart getting fouled, but he split the free throws. But had he made both, we would have went up by 1, but at that point the score was tied still. And then the Knicks were able to get a defensive stop, forcing the steal with Josh Hart attacking the rim, getting blocked by Miles Turner, which it wasn't called a goaltend, but it was very close. And then the Pacers were able to capitalize off the other end. Then Tyrese Halliburton accidentally fouled Jalen Brunson. But something that's been plaguing us all postseason is them damn free throws, as Brunson split it. So the Knicks were still down by 1 at this point, 103 to 104. Okay, so with the Knicks down 4, we're taking a look at their lineup. Hartenstein is the only big man, surrounded by 4 guards. As right here, Naismith gets an open look. He misses it. Josh Hart misses the offensive board. So now Tyrese Halliburton attacks the rim. He misses the shot, but on some Vlade Divac shit, what the fuck? Hartenstein tapped the ball. And at this point, you already know something is off with the vibes. Once you see a Vlade Divac type of tip, and if you understand NBA history, that is not a good thing. So right there, we missed the opportunity to grab the board. And the Pacers for a third time get an open look and just miss it as the Knicks finally corralled the rebound. So down 1 with a minute and 14 seconds left. So there's still plenty of breathing room for the Knicks to execute. So next time down, the Knicks with a chance to go up 1. The Pacers surprisingly leave him on an island with Nembhard, who he's been cooking all series long. And you couldn't draw it up any more perfect than that shot that he took. So again, just emphasizing on the fourth quarter execution. You know the Pacers love to run in transition. And right here, cannot blame the referees. This is a complete goaltend by Dante DiVincenzo. I don't know what he was thinking right there. But the Pacers are now up by 3. But still, there's plenty of time left to make things happen. But that was a big mistake right there. Cannot blame the referees. The Knicks at this point are a good basketball team. And good teams don't look for officials and calls to make games go their way. Leave that shit for the Pacers, the Pelicans, all the play-in teams like the Lakers. The Knicks at this point in their timeline are a good enough team to execute down the stretch in these fourth quarters. And part of that fourth quarter execution is having a floor general in Jalen Brunson, who has made his star pretty much undeniable this postseason. So Tyrese Halliburton, the next possession down, tries to take advantage of Hartenstein's drop back coverage by straight up pulling up. And he misses. But once again, the Knicks in that small ball lineup that Tibbs has out there. And that is no fault of his own. He has no choice just to make sure the Knicks at least keep up with this up-tempo pace, high-octane offense with the Indiana Pacers. He's going to have to do that. And this is the other side of the coin right here, not being able to grab some of these boards, as Naismith tips it right back out. Off the rebound, we're going to see Deuce slowly blitz. And as he blitzes, Brunson picks up on Nembhard, and the rest is history. Now with 16 seconds left to go, plenty of time, as we see Brunson a little bit caught up, but still 15 seconds left to go. And this is probably going to end up being a learning lesson for Brunson, is not to rely on the whistles of the officials, especially at the end of these games. It's not a guarantee that they was going to call a foul on that. But he tried to draw up 3 free throws to tie this game. But an over-reliance on officials is not what winning teams do. But just looking back is way more than just beyond this play right here. We got to look back when Josh Hart missed the free throws to go up by 1. The goaltend by Dante DiVincenzo that actually put him up by 3. And also Brunson splitting the free throws, which left the Knicks down by 1. All these things happened under 2 minutes. So instead of being 3-0, now it's a 2-1 swing. And this was definitely a missed opportunity. I'd even mention the 3 offensive rebounds they gave up in the last minute. And that's where Tom Thibodeau was stuck between a rock and a hard place with playing 4 guards with 1 center. There's definitely a hesitation on Tibbs' part to play Precious in the 4th quarter. He had a boneheaded turnover in that 1st quarter, but he was killing it on the glass in the second chance effort. The Knicks could have really used some of that in the 4th, but Tibbs has his instincts. When it comes to this series, the longer it goes, it's going to be more difficult for the Knicks, especially if OG doesn't return to the lineup. The Pacers' up-tempo style of play, mixed in with the Knicks having multiple starters play over 40 minutes with 1 day rest in between all these games, eventually is going to start taking a toll. Everything kind of went the Pacers' way in this 4th quarter, and they barely gutted out a win. Last but not least, this is a segment I like to call Understanding Thy Enemy, starring Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. As some of the discourse around the NBA Finals is who was MVP, but in reality, the 2024 Boston Celtics reflected more of a team similar to the 1986 Boston Celtics, the 2004 Detroit Pistons, and especially the 2014 San Antonio Spurs, where you could make a valid argument up to 4 players could have possibly won MVP. That being Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Drew Holiday. And depending on the matchup, it wouldn't be far-fetched to throw KP in there. But they have 4+ players who could possibly win an MVP in the finals. And if you take a look back to the previous championship teams I just named, I would say the 2024 Boston Celtics are very similar to the 2014 San Antonio Spurs, minus Tim Duncan on the downhill of his prime. We've never really seen this before because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are entering their primes. So things have to be put into proper context about this team because there is a lot of discourse around Tatum not averaging a certain amount of points and is he a 1A? That topic produces the same discourse as a Julius Randle hate. Those two subjects seem to create a level of discourse online that gets all the media outlets going and the algorithms triggered. But interesting enough, Jason Tatum had did a sit down with Carmelo Anthony where he was asked about a few things. And Tatum got to understand this is a very unique space and time that we're in right now. Him entering Knick land, especially after winning that championship. He's going to be questioned on a few things. But you guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Whatever happens in Boston, it's on him.
Oh, because you was it first.
It's on him. It ain't on. It's on JB, but nigga, it's on. It's on Slim over here. He knows that.
Young Dog season. He knows
that. He knows that the heat and the pressure is on him. JB got to do what he got to do, but it's on. He got to carry that. He just got it.
We see the demeanor. You see the demeanor.
He did it already.
Now that you know it, you did it. You got to the top of the mountain. Are you surveying the landscape now? Because Knicks re-signed OG, got Mikal Bridges, PG with the Sixers. You know what I mean? That conference looking a little more now. You know what I'm saying? Coming in the next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you pay attention to that type of stuff? Or you like, man, fuck that. I'm locked in with my team and what we got to do. Or do you pay attention like, okay, they got homie over there. We got a game plan. This is a guy you got a game plan for.
No, I mean,
Let me say this before he gives his answer. The Celtics had capitalized in acquiring a second insurance policy in Jrue Holiday. The Milwaukee Bucks had one of the biggest missteps I've ever seen for a franchise trying to compete for a championship, allowing Jrue Holiday to be in a position to be traded back to their rivals. And even after getting Jrue Holiday, the Celtics are still cashing in. They were able to get him to reconstruct his deal, taking less money for next season and getting a longer term deal, thus giving them breathing room to operate for an extra year without being under the second apron. And on top of all that, they were able to re-sign Derek White. So they are set up to be top dogs of the Eastern Conference, at least for the next 2 years, without getting locked up into whatever current roster they have. As long as they stay healthy, they are well set up to compete. As we've seen during the NBA Finals, their late first round to second round picks in Hauser and Pritchard definitely came through. Those are solid role players that they have on very team-friendly deals. Again, the Celtics are set up to compete, barring no injuries. Because after next season, they'll begin to get locked up on what type of trades they can make, what type of players they could acquire through free agency. They'll be pretty much set up like the Phoenix Suns, where they can only fish in the minimum player market.
No, I mean, it's twofold. Like, I see all the changes and people switching teams, and obviously teams is getting better. And that's every offseason. And you got to have like a appropriate fear or respect for your opponent, right? You don't never want to disrespect who you playing. But with that being said, it's like, we won. Like, when you win a championship, you get to talk how you want to talk. Like,
Yeah, respectfully.
Talk your shit, yeah.
they got to go through us.
Nah, but I want more of that from you, though, champ.
Damn. This is what happened when you enter Knicks land. This podcasting space is very, very interesting. Because guys are going into battle against each other and then they're showing up, for the most part, pretty cordial. But Melo kind of put Tatum in the spot because he's like, you're not acting like you're the top dog. And that's because it's a team collective. Make no mistake about it, Tatum and Jalen Brown okayed KP and Jrue Holiday coming to the team, thus crowding up the number of touches that they're going to get. In a way, they've accepted the community approach. But let's not mistake that for weakness. Tatum and Brown, after these finals, no doubt, were in 100% control. They were calling the shots. These guys are well experienced, and this year's finals for them was pretty much a coming out moment as far as leadership. Maybe departure of Marcus Smart contributed to it. Who knows? But those guys were vocal as hell in the finals.
Yeah. I want more of that from you because it's I don't want to cut you off.
Right.
I just want more of that from you. Like,
right.
You won. You did it. Okay. I done broke the ice. I'm in the door. I sit at a different level when it comes to a small group of people who've done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So you sit differently.
No, for sure.
Right? And this is my honest opinion and my honest observation. We want to see you more take on that role as being, I'm here. But I think a lot of people would say about you, yo, I want to see Jay like getting somebody's shit. Like I want to see him and fuck y'all. Like I want that's the next thing that people wants to see. And it's a great thing that we want to see that as competitors and as fans, but also he probably thinking like, man, I don't need to do that. Like I don't need to fuck her. What I'm gonna say? I just won. I don't care about yelling and doing all that.
Now, without the rah-rah shit, it probably doesn't look that way. When you look at what happened to Luka in those finals, yeah, they was up his ass. They was up his ass, no doubt. I've never seen the Mavericks under Luka just have their identity taken away like that. It could be a matchup thing, but they strategically definitely took the Mavericks completely off their game. And it took a game 4 blowout with unbelievable shot making just for Dallas to win a game. So Tatum and Brown, they're pretty humble dudes, but at the end of the day, when you look at the film, they knew what they were doing out there. There's no doubt. There's been a maturation that's happened with those two, but it doesn't look like the Kobe Bryant MVP or the Michael Jordan MVP or Shaq MVP or Stephen Curry MVP, Kawhi Leonard on the Raptors MVP. It doesn't look like that. It's more of the San Antonio Spurs, Tony Parker winning MVP, Tim Duncan winning a couple MVPs, Kawhi Leonard winning an MVP. It looks more like that, because on that Spurs team, you wouldn't be shocked if Ginobili won an MVP. So just that one team alone, they had 4 guys who could possibly win that award, and it wouldn't shock anybody.
That shit, like,
No, I definitely.
do you feel like you have to? You feel like sometimes you don't exude enough personality that people may be like, oh, I wonder what Jason Tatum is thinking. What's his personality? Do we have a personality?
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you get all of those questions.
For sure. And
Sometimes Tatum seems like he doesn't want to say the wrong thing and get canceled. He got to loosen up his collar a little bit.
For sure. And I see it all the time. Like, he's not demonstrative enough. He don't yell enough. He's not as loud as the other guys that we like watching. And part of it is like, I'm who I am. Like, I've always been a laid back person. I'm not the loudest person in the room, but it was frustrating because it's like, I feel like some people would take that and take jabs at like my game or try to like, the game and me yelling ain't got nothing to do with it. And I get like, I'm nothing like Kevin Garnett. I used to love watching KG play. Like, I like the shit talking, but sometimes that's just
Totally
not
different.
That's not who I am.
Right.
But
enforcing it would be corny.
yeah, I'm never gonna be somebody that I'm not. But like you said, there is a different feeling of like, I always felt like I was one of the best or the best player in the league, especially the last couple of years. But it was always a debate. But now it's like, yo, no, fuck that. I just won.
I believe in this.
I did what y'all said I could not do. So yeah, I'm not in that same conversation no more. I'm in a different room. I did the things that only a few people have ever done. So I definitely feel differently because it's like, y'all can't debate that. I won. Y'all can't argue with winning the championship.
Guess what? The new narrative is coming.
No, for sure.
Kenny doing it again. Kenny doing it again. Kenny doing it again.
Repeat.
For sure.
Kenny defend.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same narrative that happens all the time.
And it's going to be a narrative that Tatum and Jalen Brown will have to ignore, as the topic of a rift between those two seems to get going in the algorithm. Just like the division the media tries to stir up between Knicks fans and Julius Randle, it all gets the algorithm going. But Tatum definitely has evolved his playmaking skills from the 2022 finals loss against the Warriors. And he showed plenty of that against the Mavericks, especially when his shot wasn't falling. And it's making more sense why the Knicks took the approach of getting Mikal Bridges along with the combination of getting Brunson to take a pay cut. Building out a well-balanced roster from the first all the way down to the 7th man seems to be the more plausible approach, with the Celtics sitting as top dogs. You know what? To get a better visual of what I'm talking about, let's just go to the tape.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out.
But going to the offensive side of the ball for the Boston Celtics in Game 4, as a team unit, they were not able to knock down shots, which made it a lot easier for the Mavs to defend the closeouts, even with slower defenders like Luka. But even through it all, the Celtics were still attempting more three-point shots, a lot of them being great open looks. Is that they just weren't falling. But Tatum and Brown showing a lot of maturation from the NBA Finals going up against the Golden State Warriors, because in games 4, 5, and 6, they were not able to make adjustments of the rotational defense of Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. And that caused them to settle for a lot of shots, especially Jason Tatum struggling just to play make for other teammates, as a lot of his passes were intercepted for steals. But these two have shown a great maturation, with Jason Tatum reading the game a lot better, not settling for shots, getting other teammates involved, as this roster is constructed in a way where the scoring onus will never necessarily be on him. And there's no reason for him to try to average 30 points a game when he has 4 other guys on the floor who could not only knock down three-point shots, but they could finish at the cup, take mid-range shots. It wouldn't make sense for him to try to play hero ball. And with Jalen Brown, he has shown an onus of being one of the vocal leaders of this team, especially on the defensive end with the departure of Marcus Smart. We've seen him make great plays throughout these finals and become that player that could be consistently reliable in crunch time situations with taking big shots, as we've seen it played out in Game 3. Long gone are the days of the Warriors finals in which a combination of Wiggins, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green systematically took these guys out their game. Not only they have changed their approach, but they have come back stronger and wiser and have fully embraced the team concept. You see them going out and getting Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Make no mistake about it, the Celtics front office had to speak with those guys. And for them to be okay with so many other guys who can come in and average 20 points a game, it shows you that they're past the accolades phase where they're going to get their all-star selections or attempts at MVP awards or scoring titles. They're completely past that. They've been through the NBA Finals losses, the heartbreaking early playoff exit losses. So with them approaching their mid to late 20s, they're at that sweet spot where they begin to let go of the personal accolades. They already have their footprint in the league, and now they're trying to establish themselves historically. But taking a look at Game 5 and the Celtics' offensive adjustments, pulling out the Mavericks big man down low, as we've seen in Game 4, the Mavericks emphasize a switch with Lively or Gafford down low to at least have someone to protect the rim. And in that transition to the closeout game, the Celtics initiated a game plan to make sure that the Mavs big men are pulled out of the paint. And here's some prime examples of it right here. Check out Al Horford as he's going to make his way down. He's going to drag Gafford away from the hoop and force him to make a decision either to guard him way out here or get involved in this pick and roll action that's going to be ran in between Tatum and Drew Holiday. So as soon as he's making his run in the corner to force Gafford to make that decision, they're running pick and roll right here. Look at Drew. Easy access. Once again, Gafford being forced to make tough decisions. Look where he's guarding Al Horford at while this pick and roll action happens here, and look at all the space. Check out Drew. Drew has plenty of space to operate, and this is the power of the 5-out offense by the Boston Celtics. Everyone can make shots, and it's taking away that rim protection. Now right here off this rebound, you're going to see the Celtics players. This is the power of this offense. You have 5 guys that have high basketball IQ, and Horford, he trails right here off that rebound on purpose, especially with Gafford the past few possessions being taken away from being the low man. But he's used to getting back on defense, instantly covering that low post area. And this is where you see Horford trails on purpose and takes full advantage of it. And Celtics right here showing numerous counters from when they pulled the big man out. Lively way out here. Now Horford, he was stuck on Kyrie. But notice how right here PJ is instantly going to make the switch onto Horford. He points to Kyrie to cover Hauser. But once again, the Celtics, all 5 guys, are playing with high basketball IQ. Look at Hauser. He instantly notices that. He pulls Kyrie right back into the action. But watch the adjustments that they make. It's a ghost screen, and he's open for the 3. This right here is what made it tough for the Dallas Mavericks. They had to be perfect for the rest of the way, just for this to even go 6 games. The Celtics were just clicking as a unit, not only defensively, but offensively as well. So Jason Tatum right here gets the switch, and even with the Boston Celtics clicking as an offensive unit, it's only a matter of time before your superstar just kicks in. And with him having Lively on him, now they're going to pick on Luka. And he rejects the screen, and he finishes right through all this contact. And this is where your stars come through, and Tatum is ready for the moment. And Al Horford just all game long setting these pin down screens, just forcing guys to get on him. Right here, the Celtics want the Mavs as far as rim protection. The Mavs all season long have been one of the worst rim protecting teams. And after that trade deadline, them implementing Gafford and PJ kind of improved their odds a little bit more. But at the end of the day, Lively way out here, it's only a matter of time. And Tatum, unlike the 2022 NBA Finals, especially games 4, 5, and 6, He is improving his playmaking skills, and he is not settling. He could have easily have settled right here for a step back three. And right here, he shows he's not shy to be that playmaker and gets Jrue Holiday an easy bucket. So right here on the switch, Tatum gets the favorable matchup against Luka, but here's a conundrum for the Mavs. As you see right here, Lively and Green exchanging communication. Lively wants to switch because, once again, they want rim protection down here. Tatum is picking his poison. He knows Lively's down there, so having Luka way out here is not necessarily going to be a problem for him. Cash. Celtics having numerous ways of making the Dallas Mavericks pay. You see Gafford right here serving as the low man, but look at Horford. Wide open. It's going to make him pay. The rim protection for the Dallas Mavericks all night long had to pick their poison. Now right here, Lively in this closeout, he's trying to defend that shot by Horford. But at the same time, the Celtics big man proving he's versatile as he attacks the hoop and gets the foul. Once again, this was the conundrum all series long for the Mavericks. The Celtics just had too many guys who could not only knock down threes, but could put the ball down on the floor and take mid-range shots. They could attack the hoop. Just so much offensive versatilities with all five guys on the floor. And when you combine that with the Mavs not necessarily having strong perimeter defense, just allowing guys like Tatum and Brown to easily penetrate that defense, and you have Gafford and a rookie and Lively down low, it's only a matter of time. So in order for the Mavs offense to get it going, let's take a look at some of the spacing they created in game 4. They crowded up 2 around the baseline. Look at all the space in the middle right here. And look at where Luka's at. So once Jalen Brown tries to help in, he's not really going to fully make that commitment. See, he kind of stunts in. He's going to go right back to Luka. Can't leave him open there. And look at all the space a guy like Kyrie has to operate in. And also PJ at the corner. They're going to have to choose which corner shooter to give up the shot to. And the Celtics all series long has played it very close to the hip, making sure that they don't give up these type of shots. They rather give it up to PJ anywhere from around here, or even Jones Jr. Now taking a look at it from Luka's angle, as we see Kyrie right here, as Jrue's going to begin to stunt in a little bit, but he's not going to make that full commitment because he doesn't want to leave Kyrie open from here. And we're going to see our corner shooters, PJ right here in his sweet spot. And we're going to see Jones Jr. make his way to the corner to put Jalen Brown in a compromising position, whether he's going to commit or give up that corner shot. And look at all the spacing Luka has to operate right here. This is his bag. Just like Kyrie, he could finish these. As we're going to see here once again, look where Luka's at. Tatum is compromised. Is he going to fully commit on that stunt? I think not. Does not want to leave Luka open. Definitely is not going to do that. But look at all the spacing right here. Look at the 2 Dallas players right on the baseline. This is how Dallas created a lot of spacing for Luka and Kyrie to get points in the paint. And they cooked on this all game long. And when the Celtics began to apply more pressure, the shooters like PJ Washington, Dante Exum, Lively, Keebler, Derrick Jones Jr., they all got into the action. And guys like Luka can improvise. As we see Dante Exum right here, Jrue more than likely is probably going to commit on this stunt. But look at the Dallas Mavericks players. They're all bunched up, creating a lot of spacing right here. And Luka's going to improvise and attack this empty spacing. So how the Celtics defense adjusted to this in game 5 was to basically take Luka out of plays, applying ball pressure on him early throughout the game, getting him fatigued, and also a combination of great help defense from Jrue Holiday and Derek White, along with Al Horford and Jalen Brown, of course. This has been the true MVP of the Boston Celtics because all 5 players that are usually on the floor, even going from Hauser to Pritchard, can defend players one-on-one and have been applying great pressure. But the combination of Derek White, Jrue Holiday, and Jalen Brown applying pressure early messed up the flow of the Mavs offense just between Kyrie Irving and Luka trying to get to their spots. Now right here on Kyrie on this double screen for a screener right here. Usually the Mavs love running this for Luka and Kyrie, but look at the communication between White and Jrue Holiday on this switch. It's not over yet. Drew is going to pick up the roll man. Great communication right here. White is going to go back. Look at the communication. And now Kyrie is one-on-one with Tatum. And this has always been Kyrie's conundrum. It's not only getting past Tatum, getting past the help. The help is going to be Jaylen Brown and Drew. That's a hell of a feat for even a guy like Kyrie, as he's going to get stripped right here. Once again, the Celtics apply a little bit ball pressure early on, but it's the combination of them having versatile defenders. Check out Hauser right here, 6'7". They never have to double team. Does a great job keeping up with Luka. So even at the point of attack for Luka or Kyrie, everyone on the floor, even guys coming off the bench, can stick with their man one-on-one. They don't have to give up that double team, thus drawing a pass for the Mavs from the corners or from anywhere from 3. Now right here, you're going to watch Jaylen Brown completely take Luka out the play. And this has been a strategy all game long. Luka can't get the ball back. Exum settles and he knocks down the shot. But at the end of the day, the Celtics are forcing other role players like Green, Keebler, PJ to make some shots. And things like this do give a lot of kudos to Jaylen Brown for MVP, because defensively he has been the anchor of disrupting such a big whale like Luka, while at the same time doing a great job with the help defense, and he provides the scoring and playmaking on the other end. In a way, he almost sounds like a baby Giannis in his playoff peak back in 2021. Now, eventually, they had PJ bring the ball up due to all the ball pressure from Jaylen Brown. But interesting conundrum right here with the pick and roll, or just Kyrie trying to do a pin down screen on Brown. Meanwhile, the bull, Drew Holiday, is on Luka. You have two strong guys. This is real tough. Look at Kyrie trying to force his pin down. This is kind of crazy. Jaylen Brown's so much stronger than him. And Jaylen Brown showing you right here why he's MVP. Check out this steal. And White losing his tooth right there, but it's all worth it. But that championship is worth it. Now the Celtics right here on this stagger screen is defending on a level of the San Antonio Spurs back in 2014 going up against LeBron. They're that in sync, and this is why the superstar mold, these Jason Tatum talks, now why isn't he averaging like 30 points a game in the finals? This is where defenses like this kind of shows you one guy cannot take on 5 players when they're this much in sync. Check out Al Horford right here on this roll. He switches right on Exum. Hauser is right on Jones Jr. And look at Drew Holiday on the other side. He's going to make a switch right here. Drew Holiday switches. And then Hauser's going to switch right back on Kyrie. They're reading these screens really nice. And then he deflects it. See? The higher up you go in any playoffs of any NBA era, the harder it gets. Because usually those teams consist of 7 to 8 players who are in sync defensively. That's why a lot of superstars who tend to be the solo act, that's where they're always going to hit the wall. And the same way we seen Luka played earlier in the season, where he was averaging almost 36 points per game. We never seen it translate on this level. It's because of defenses like this.